Welcome to Career Spotlight presented by Educational Opportunity Centers, EOC. My name is Bill Leonard. I'm an academic specialist with EOC, and I'll be your host on this career exploration and discovery journey. The objective of Career Spotlight is to learn about careers from industry professionals in an effort to educate students and the public so they can make more informed career decisions. The career we are highlighting today is financial advisor. I'm excited to be joined by Jude McDonough, Senior Vice President at Alliance Wealth Advisors. Welcome, Jude.
Thank you, Bill.
Did I get that right?
Got it all right. You nailed it.
Excellent. So Jude, why don't you take a moment or two to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure. So as Bill said, my name is Jude McDonough. I am a Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor at Alliance Wealth Advisors. I've been at Alliance since October. Prior to that, we'll go back. I started my career at Merrill Lynch down in the Philadelphia area in 2004. Graduated from the University of Scranton, and a good friend of mine who was a couple of years older than me helped me get to Merrill. And in 2010, I wanted to get back to good old Northeast PA, and made my way back, and really was able to build my business with us at a bank for the last 10 years, and through some people there that I teamed up with, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and I just wanted to get out on my own, and made a tough decision in October, and here we are.
Great. Thank you for joining us. So on a very basic level, what does a financial advisor do? What are some of their major responsibilities?
Yes. So there's that question, you wear a lot of hats, like a lot of jobs, but what I thought would be beneficial would be to break it into three real areas that we have to focus on that are major responsibilities for us. So the first one is what you would think it is. You're advising people on their finances. You're helping people navigate their financial lives, and so what that could be is managing their investments, helping them plan for retirement, helping them figure out when to take Social Security, tax planning, estate planning. There's a lot that goes into what we do for different families. So there's the piece where you're working with your clients. Okay, then there's the piece where you have to know what you're doing. So you have to follow market trends and study and do continuing education and do research. So that's a big part of your job. You're meeting with different vendors who are giving you different ideas of things that might work for your clients, and you have to figure out what might be good, what might be bad for your clients. So you have that part of it, and then the third part of it's marketing, and so you need clients to advise, and so you have to go out and build your book. And most startup financial advisors don't have people knocking on their door just handing the money. You have to get out, build trust, and build credibility in the community and with your clients, and hopefully your clients become fans and talk to their friends and talk about you to their friends and family. So you have that part. So initially there's more marketing responsibility than anything, and then as you build, less marketing responsibility, more taking care of your clients, because once you have clients, you want to make sure you take care of them. You don't want to screw that up. So that's really what it comes down to.
Great. What was your career path to working as a financial advisor? Did you know at a young age? Did you discover your interest in college? So what steps did you take to become a financial advisor?
Well, when I was younger, one of my friends, his dad was a financial advisor. It was always intriguing to me. So, and I'm talking young, like Little League, I was like, wow, he's that guy seems to be doing well, and then, I was interested in numbers and enjoyed math. I was always a pretty good math student. And I liked business. So, went to college, majored in marketing, and didn't know that was 100% where I was going to go. But as I mentioned earlier, a good friend who, I still feel indebted to today, got me my first job out of school, and he kind of, he helped me out, that first year and helped me kind of figure out what I wanted to do at Merrill. He wasn't an advisor, actually. He went in a different direction, the management route, and he's very successful today. But when I got there, I realized, I liked the numbers aspect of it, but I also liked even more, I liked dealing with people, so what I did was I decided, all right, well, I'll go for my licenses. And so I did that. And next thing you know, I was out at a branch office with a team that was managing $500 million and, learning everything I could. Like I mentioned earlier, wanted to get back to Northeast PA. This was all down in Philly. Had a great run at a bank with some great people that became great friends, and we had a lot of fun building business there. And so I built up a lot of credibility in the community. Now I have 15 years of experience in the business, have my wounds from 2008 when the market crashed, and here we are in another crash type scenario. And so I was able to, now I have the experience behind me, and so took that leap because it's a very entrepreneurial job to begin with. So I wanted to go out to the registered investment advisory space where I am now, for a number of reasons. One was for that, to have my own business, because while I have a team, I'm now a business owner, but even more importantly than that, I just think the registered investment advisor space, which is the kind of firm that I'm with now, I think that's where our industry is going, and so I felt that the timing was really good to make that move, because I just just reading industry publications and just looking at the trends, I just feel that this is where the next leg up for the business is.
Sure. How about some common career paths for, let's say, younger people, maybe people in their 20s, college students, to get into being a financial advisor? I'm thinking internships, I'm thinking work experience, maybe in a bank, maybe in a sales environment. I mean, are there some common threads about maybe how to break into the financial advisory business?
Yes, you definitely need people skills if you want to be an advisor, but you have to have the analytical skills too. And so you really have to walk that line. I don't consider myself a salesperson, but you have to have that, because you have to convince people that you're the right person to work with. And sometimes it's a competitive situation. And so, yeah, you have to put your sales hat on, but you also have to back it up with knowledge, and you have to be analytical. You have to be able to understand and interpret market trends and and what's going on in the industry. So what I would advise someone who was looking to get into this, because it is, especially at the beginning, it's essentially a sales role. So it's good to get sales experience if you could. While in college, when I was in college, I sold cell phones. Just to get some sales experience on my resume.
Yeah.
And so I did that and got a little bit of experience there. And then I would definitely look for that, and I would not jump right into being an advisor right out of college. Okay, there's people that are successful doing it, as a career change later on in life. The most successful ones have had some type of sales background prior, have built up a network of people. But when you're 22 years old, none of your friends have money, and maybe your family does. Mine didn't. But if it's hard to get and hard to connect with someone who's 50, 60, 70 years old, and then not only connect with them, but then to get them to trust you to advise them to the finish line and beyond, when they want to retire. So my advice, I made I made many mistakes along the way, and I'm sure I'll make more.
Yeah.
But the one thing I did that I think was a really good choice was going to work with that team first, and it was on the advice of a mentor. Go work with the team. As at the time it was called client associate / investment associate. Paraplanner is a term now being used in our industry. Go work as a paraplanner or an investment associate, client associate, something along those lines where you could really learn the business and not have that pressure of building a book of business. Because if you just go in as an advisor, one of the big firms might hire you, but you have numbers to hit. You don't hit those numbers, you're done. There's a very high failure rate. And so you're better off, in my opinion, at a young age, learning. There's firms like ours. There's not as many around here yet. We're one of a couple, but mark my words, you'll see more pop up over the next 5 to 10 years, and maybe even sooner than that. But look to firms like ours. We have had interns before. We probably will again. So I would definitely look for internships. Or like a paraplanner or an assistant type role. And then, you could get in and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, because not every day is rosy, then you could pivot to other types of jobs in the industry, from those roles, or you can make a career of it in those roles. So, some of those people really move up, and the more attached that advisor gets to you that you're working for or team, and then their clients start to like you, the harder you are to replace. So you could just grow with the advisor too and never be a full advisor. So there's definitely a lot of ways to do it. But I think that's a good role rather than jumping right in, unless you have some serious connections to family money, and you feel pretty confident that they're, going to do business with you. So you can learn the ropes.
That's great advice. I think that's really, really important for especially young people to hear. I'm going to jump ahead actually and talk about skills. You've mentioned some skills already, analytical skills. You've mentioned, networking, sales, communication. So thinking about some skill sets that would allow people to succeed as a financial advisor, I'm thinking some people skills, some technical skills. What are some common ones that you've seen that allow people to be successful in your industry?
Well, you mentioned them there. I mean, the biggest thing is people. You have to be empathetic. I'm lucky there. Like I'm naturally empathetic. I care about other people, and so it's easy for me to do. If you have to fake it, it's probably not worth even doing it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't do it if it was fake. You have to care, and So I think that's one thing. If you like helping people, this is probably it could be a good place for you. That's not the be all end all, but you're there for people. Like right now with what's happening, with the stock market, a lot people are looking to us for answers more. If there's a 3 or 4 month period where the market's just going straight up, my clients, they'll talk to me if I call them and say hi, but they're not like, picking up the phone and calling me, whereas now, the phone's going both ways, and it's because they want to know, what I think, what's happening, am I going to be okay? So you have to put your counselor hat on,
sure,
and really counsel them through it and help them focus on, on the long term, focus on their plan. So there's that. Definitely the empathetic side of it, and then also, make sure you're interested in, the financial markets. I think it's fascinating. It's very interesting stuff to me. I enjoy it. I watch CNBC at 5:30 in the morning. And kind of get my news going, to do some reading, and I enjoy that, but that's what you need to make sure you enjoy it. I don't feel like I'm working, and so, and this is a job where you could get there, and actually it's a job where you feel like you're not working, but you have to, those are some skills that you have to have.
Sure. Let's talk about education. Thinking about yourself and maybe some of your peers in the industry, what would you say is a typical level of education that maybe most financial advisors that or know of have? Would that be an associate's? Would that be a bachelor's? Would that be a master's degree? I think students are really curious about what type of education they need, what level of education.
Yeah. So most have a bachelor's degree now. I will say it's not technically a requirement.
Sure. One
of my best mentors actually, he's, 20 plus years older than me. And he just got he finally finished his bachelor's, a couple of years ago, and so, he's kind of an anomaly, but there are some that don't have it. When he started, it was more, can you get business,
Sure.
and so, it doesn't matter if you have your degree or not, can you get business? Now the business has evolved quite a bit over the years. And so I would think bachelor's, to get there with
Okay.
a bachelor's would be it.
And you mentioned earlier about continuing education, I believe. Is that a requirement? Is it important in your industry? Talk a little bit about that, because I think sometimes students may think, hey, when I'm done with college, I'm done learning. I think, but we both know that, you have to be a continuous learner, especially in today's economy. But
Yeah.
are there specific requirements for continuing education?
There are. So essentially, like when you start in the business, you get your Series 7, okay? And you get your Series 7 and your Series 66. That helps you deal with, enables you to deal with clients and, sell stocks or mutual funds, and put those trades in yourself and advise them on them. And so the Series 7, you have to actually renew every 3 years. You have to do continuing education every 3 years with that. And then I would advise, I'm a certified financial planner. I think, that I did that 12 years ago, but it helped me quite a bit in working with clients, and you learn a lot. And that requires, that's a lot of work. I basically looked at that as that was my MBA, rather than going for my MBA. And, but I have to renew that every 2 years. I have to get a certain amount of continuing ed for that. And then I have another designation, the accredited investment fiduciary. I have to do continuing ed for that. There's no shortage of designations in this business, but those are two of the more common ones. And most of them require continuing ed. And it's good to do because it makes you a better advisor. You get my partner Chris. He just got his CFP last year, and so he was further along in the business when he got it, than I was when I got mine. So I got mine 12 years ago. And, I was almost a little bit jealous of him because he was kind of getting ideas in his CFP classes. Cause at the time I did it, I was very much building my book. Whereas, he's got a built book now, like I do too. And I think, it might be good to go back to those classes and see. But the continuing ed, I try to pick continuing ed that is applicable to my practice, because there's a lot of that offered to you.
Okay. Before I ask you about challenges, let's talk about the best part of your job. What would you say is something you just absolutely love about what you do as a financial advisor?
I love working with people. I think that's the quick answer. I like learning about different people and what they do, especially in this business. I mean, you're dealing with people, generally wealthier people. Some of them built multi-million-dollar enterprises, and so you get to talk to them about how they got to where they are, and it's interesting. I love hearing successful people talk about how they got there, and just learning how they were able to accomplish what they accomplished. So that I really like, and just enjoying their company and helping them. So I would say people is definitely the best part.
And, what is the most challenging part of what you do? I think it's important for, people before they pick a career to understand that it's not always easy. It's not always fun. There are challenges. So what would you say are maybe one or two of the biggest challenges facing a financial advisor?
Yeah, it's tough, because I feel like lately I've been saying this a lot, like, this is the hardest part about my job, when I'm talking to people. But, I think one of the hardest parts definitely is the market, because the market it's very unpredictable, and your life in a lot of ways depends on it, and it is driven by it, right? And so it's managing people's emotions through that, through tough market cycles, and just helping them realize, that it's short term, and the one thing that comes with that is, everybody and their brother wants to know, wants you to make the right prediction of where it's going tomorrow, and that's just next to impossible. I mean, especially if you take a look at the last couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have CNBC on all day in the background in my office, and there's so many smart people on there that have been dead wrong for the last 3 weeks about the direction of the market. And, and that's okay because really the short term, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it almost doesn't matter. It's a long-term game, and you have to be, aware of what's going on and, and be ready to adjust if you have to. But in the grand scheme of things, it's long term. So you just have to kind of manage that with your clients and get through it. So that's the biggest one. The other one, and this I'll keep a little shorter for you, is it's walking that line between marketing and servicing. Meaning, this is why I like having a team. Because we have people that help us. So it actually creates jobs as advisors grow. And some of those roles I mentioned earlier, are the roles that are created, as advisors like me and my partners grow. And but you still, clients want to talk to you, and you have to be there for them. So you always have to put your clients first, and then you have to walk that line of showing that person who you're maybe bringing on, that they're going to get that type of service. So you have to get back to them quick too,
sure.
In the initial process, so it's just walking that line of making sure you always put your clients first and but being able to bring in new business when you find opportunities, and also go through the motions to find new business, because you have to keep growing.
Sure. What would you say is the one thing you know now that you wish you knew about this career, this job, when you started 15 years ago?
Yeah, that one. I think I thought about that a little bit, and what I came up with was that you can't time the market, and I've learned that many times over the years. It's the market could make you feel and look dumb, at a lot of different times, and so I'm still learning that sometimes. I find myself, if you're watching these things, you get consumed with the short term, so even as an advisor, you still have to kind of step back out and take the emotion out of it and say, wait a second, does this really matter, right now, and it was a quote I read in a book, how will this issue feel 1 year from now, when you're facing some type of adverse situation, how will this feel a year from now? How will this feel 3 years from now? A lot of that applies to the stock market, right? Like think about where we're at today. I think, unless things get way worse, which they can. I mean, this is an unprecedented time in history that we're living through. But, if I had to guess, I'm pretty darn confident that 3 years from now, the market will be higher than it is today.
Sure.
And but I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow. No one knows where it'll close today. And so I think that's something that if it's something, the quicker you learn that as a young advisor, the better, because it'll make for a much better, much smoother growth rate for yourself, and you have to take the emotion out of it.
So Jude, as we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to say about your profession? If we have any viewers watching who are thinking about maybe entering the business or curious about it, is there anything else that you want to say maybe that we haven't covered?
I think you covered most of it. The only thing I would say, it's like any profession. I mean, it's challenging. There's a lot of barriers to entry, but you could do it. I mean, you have to stay positive. And like I said earlier on, I would strongly recommend doing some type of role where you're a part of a team and not necessarily responsible for bringing in money right out of the gate. So you could learn it. Because it's a very rewarding career. It's a lot of fun, but the first the first 5 years
Mhm.
are very, very difficult, so, and if you could get through that, you'll start to see little rays of light, maybe you catch a few breaks and see the rays of light a little bit earlier, but it's it's a tough business to break into, like anything, but it's no one, you'll never meet somebody who's doing well in their business that said it was easy to get to where they were, right?
Sure.
So that it probably applies to more than just this job, and I think you need to be patient, no matter what career you choose, because it doesn't happen overnight, so that's, I guess, what I would leave with.
Great advice. So Jude, on behalf of Educational Opportunity Centers, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experiences, and your passion for financial services. I know I learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers did too. So again, thank you so much for your time, and best wishes to you.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it.
Sure. Take care.
All right.
Bye.